After many years of missing from the automotive landscape, the Defender nameplate is finally back. Today we're going to take a look at this Land Rover Defender, and we're going to see just what the company's done and see if their efforts are worthy of the hallowed Defender name. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's take a look at this new Land Rover Defender. Let's get into it. Now, I know a lot of you might be worried that Land Rover has come in and taken the name and made it a mall crawler, but I assure you they've actually done a lot to give this vehicle proper off-roading chops. It has air suspension, it has a twin-speed transfer case, it has a 3-liter V6 engine, putting out a pretty impressive amount of power. They've also topped it off with offerings like hill descent control, so they've really put a lot of thought into making this vehicle a good off-roader. Not just that, but they've gone and offered a 2-door version, which is pretty rare to see SUVs with 2-door versions. Now, we've seen a little bit of a resurgence of it recently with this and the new Bronco. We'll see if these new 2-door variants are here to stay, but that short wheelbase is going to give you a great advantage when you're off-roading. So they definitely have put a lot of thought into making sure this is a lot more than just a mall crawler. Now, looking at the front of the Defender, I'm a very big fan of it. It definitely has that chunky, rugged look that you would expect from an off-roader like this. It has all the modern amenities that you'd expect, of course, especially in a vehicle from the historied Land Rover brand. You have LED headlights right here. You also have a trail kind of front-facing camera right here that you can use as an off-road feature. Now, other off-road features this vehicle have include the 38-degree approach angle. That means that you can approach kind of steep inclines and whatnot and not worry about scraping your bumper down here. Your wheels are pushed very far forward to the front of the vehicle, and you have very little lip down here just to make sure that that's not a problem. You do have your fog lights down here. In addition, other off-roading features include the 35 inches of water fording capability this vehicle has. On the interior, it will show you how high the water is on the screen so that you don't push the vehicle too far. When it comes to ground clearance, this vehicle has about 8 to 11 inches of ground clearance. That's going to vary depending on the air suspension. You have Defender printed all the way across the front. Of course, I love that design. But one design feature I don't love is kind of fake diamond plating up here. Now, friend of the channel, William West Hopper, a fellow WAPA member, pointed out that he thought it could be used for water bottles to hold them, but that kind of works. Sometimes it doesn't. It works with my heavy Yeti right here, but if you have a lighter water bottle, it may not work. What would you guys use this for? Let me know in the comments below. Now, the side of the vehicle is the name of the game here because this is a 2-door off-road SUV. Now, why is that a big deal? I mentioned it when talking about the front of the vehicle. It's going to give you that shorter wheelbase, which can be useful because it means it's less likely to get stuff caught underneath when you're off-roading. They've pushed the wheels all the way out to the edges to make sure that you kind of have really good approach and departure angles. Making the vehicle shorter overall is going to improve your breakover angle along with raising it. That's going to make this thing a really potent off-roader. Speaking of the wheels, you have these 20-inch wheels right here. They are wrapped in Goodyear Wrangler tires. That is a $350 option. Also, the wheel wells have a really nice kind of hip curvature to them. Some really nice fender flares, not something I was expecting to see on this vehicle. Looking at the mirrors, you can see we have black. It kind of matches with the windows nicely. A contrast with this green paint. Also, a little bit of a contrast point is the venting right here. And then you have the white roof with the safari windows in the back. That makes for a great look on the interior, which we'll take a look at in just a sec. The mirrors aren't anything special, nice and square. They're really large, which gives you a nice view. Of course, they have your warning in it for your blind spot monitor. And now you all join me at the rear of the vehicle. I love what Land Rover did here. There's nothing flashy, like no crazy exhaust to see back here, just a lot of practicality. Just like we saw up front, your rear is pretty high up and it's pretty close to those rear wheels. That's gonna help when you're off-roading. You have this big spare tire back here, full size, of course. Now, you don't have any glass that comes down here, just something to note. Other notable exterior features back here. These taillights are probably my favorite design feature of the car. They look incredible. Also, you have a shark fin antenna on top. There's a camera in your shark fin antenna that's pointing back. That acts as a camera that shows up in your rear view mirror. We'll see that when we get inside. Swinging open the door right here is going to reveal about 15.6 cubic feet of cargo space. Now you can actually put these seats down and you're gonna have closer to 50-ish, 56-ish cubic feet of cargo space. Now, really cool feature, this vehicle has air suspension, so you can actually lower down the vehicle by pressing this button here and you will see it is actually starting to squat. Super cool feature right there, useful for loading stuff in. Now, let's say you had some heavy wood, you just lowered this down, you couldn't stick any long planks in here, but you'd be mistaken because the seats here fold down. But not just that, these seats are a 40-40-20 split. Now, why is that special? Most SUVs have a 60-40 split, meaning you cannot fold down exactly straight down the middle. That makes it really hard to load in things like skis. That makes it hard to load in things like lumber. However, in this vehicle, you can fold down just that center portion and have a view all the way straight through to the front. So even though this is a shorter vehicle, it might be able to carry longer items better than some four-door SUVs that have just that 60-40 split. You do have a lot of features on your sort of door right here. You can actually open this up and it will reveal basically your road sort of safety triangles, or you can keep your Colin snacks back there to feed him after a hard day of filming. Then on top of that, there's just a little cubby right down here, nothing else too special. It's a really nicely designed place. The biggest problem back here is probably that you don't have a flat load floor. There is a sharp kind of jut up. There is no carpet back here, which is a nice feature because you can easily spray down like this hard material. It's definitely designed with the Land Rover two-door Defender customer in mind. Let's talk engine. This vehicle has a 3-liter 6-cylinder engine that's going to be putting out 395 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. That's going to be routed through an 8-speed transmission and twin-speed transfer case to all 4 wheels to give you that power you need while off-roading. Now, something interesting about this engine is that Land Rover decided to call it Ingenium. It's kind of like a misspelling of engine. I'm not sure if they just didn't use spell check and quality control. I'm not sure how that made it on. Now you join me on the interior of the all-new Defender, and it is actually a really nice place to be. I really like the new rivets in here. The exposed rivets add a really interesting industrial look. On top of that, you have the exposed paint in here. It's done very well. It definitely adds a unique character to the vehicle. There's not a lot of cars that do that. Well, at least ones that you'd want to drive in anyway, like this one. You have some really nice kind of felt material up here that just feels really nice to the touch. It has some great stitching in it. The seats have a really interesting leather insert with a cloth surround. They feel really fantastic. You could definitely go for a long day off-roading in them. Now, speaking of the seats, this is a bench seat. This vehicle does fit 6 people in it. And so you can see, you can pull up the center console to become a seat. Now, this does reveal one problem. It completely blocks your mirror, but that's okay. We saw that camera out back. All you do is you pull this switch. Now this is completely gone and not a problem anymore. And to put this down, there's just a strap you pull. Putting this down is going to reveal 2 cup holders with the little nubs that we love to see here at gas guzzlers that hold your drink in place, along with a variety of chargers that could be used by passengers in the back or the front. Now let's take a little bit of a closer look at the tech in the vehicle. All right, let's take a look at your center display to kick things off with technology. It is controlled on your steering wheel with these 4 buttons right here. And these 4 buttons will actually change based on the context menus you're in. So take a note of what it looks like right now, and in just a sec, we'll see how that changes. Looking back at your screen right here, you can see you have an electronic speedometer, and you have, of course, that really cool off-road information in the middle and your tachometer on the right. Now, I've actually put the off-road information there because you can change what is in that center display. It's pretty customizable. So first, we're gonna push this button on the steering wheel. Now, take a look, it's gonna change. When I press this, now we have 4 arrows, and that's because we have to navigate this menu now. Now I'm going to go down to the info panel, and you can see here you can change to a bunch of different features to see what you want in that info panel. And you can then have whatever you want, be it your map, your driver assistance, right in the middle. But what's even cooler is this. If you go to layout, a lot of people like to have the map right in the middle of their system. You can go to full map, and now look at this. Now we have our full map, and we can then kind of just drive much easier without having to go into the center screen map, and we can leave the center screen open for other tasks. So really cool feature there from Land Rover. Now let's take a look at the center screen. It is extremely customizable, just like the center gauge cluster. Now you have these kind of modules right here. Right now I have navigation, media, and driving style up, which is very nice. But if you want a little more information, you can actually edit this screen by sliding over, hitting the pencil to edit, and now you can add whatever little modules you would like. So for example, I'm gonna add wheel info, slope assist, and weight sensing. We're going for a day off-road. You know, we're gonna need these info panels, and if I swipe on over, now you can see we have our wheel info, we have our slope angles of the vehicle, and we have the water depth that the vehicle is in, all presented to us really easily. That's how easy it is to just quickly modify this car and change out modules. Another really great feature here are the cameras. This vehicle has a very impressive camera system. You can see that we have a sort of 360 drone shot. Now I will say this is kind of an optimal place for the drone shot to work, right? We're not surrounded by anything. It's just a big open space where the cameras can do their jobs very nicely. If you're in a parking garage, sometimes you will get some sort of messy graphics with systems like this, but I don't know if that's the case with this vehicle because I have not driven it in a parking garage yet. But right here, it seems to be working very well. You can see we can jump quickly to different points. We can look out from the vehicle as well. We can get kind of those front trail cameras again. Make sure you're not going to scrape against any rocks. If we go to our off-road view right there, you can see that's a really nice sort of view to make sure that you're hitting all the rocks just right. You'll also see in our tire display right there, as I turn, so do the wheels in the display. And finally, we do have a towing display right here that's going to help you hook up to your trailer. Really nice job with the center display by Land Rover. If you're liking the video, consider liking and subscribing for more weekly automotive content. Okay, let's get back to it. One other cool tech feature is the camera mirror. So you can see that's not actually a mirror, it's a screen. If I put my finger there and you don't see me in the mirror right there, that's really helpful because this vehicle doesn't have the greatest rear visibility, especially when you have that middle seat in the front up. So this is a really nice feature. Now let's take a look at some of the buttons that you have for other controls here that are not in the screen. They are big, chunky buttons, perfect if you're wearing gloves and it's a cold day and you were just off-roading. You can see a lot of the typical suspects right here. You do have your hill descent control, very important in this vehicle, along with some controls for your drive mode and your fans. What's really interesting are these big dials right here. Each of these have 3 different functions. So they're your climate zone. For your left or right climate zone, you can change the temperature, or you can press them. Now you're controlling your heated or cooled seats, or you can then also press a button. For example, this one on the right will control your drive mode. You can see there on the screen, or on this one on the right, it controls your fan speed. So you can see I can change the fan speed of the AC right there. So that is a really neat feature. It's definitely a trend in the industry. Some people may like this, some people may hate it. Let me know what you think. Getting in is pretty easy. They do have buttons on the side to push this passenger seat all the way up, and in you go. Now, one thing that friend of the channel who's here with us today, William West Hopper of Real DC Car Guy, pointed out is that you have these floor mats, these nice rubber floor mats protecting your plastic floor. So just, you know, only the finest British plastics used here. You don't want to get any mud on them. All right, now you all join me in the rear of the vehicle. You can see we have a 5-volt USB port right there, along with the little tablet holder. It's not the only USB port back here. Down there, you are going to find USB-C and 2 air vents. You also have like some traditional 12-volt chargers back there. You do have cup holders back here, but not these ones. You do have pull-out cup holders in the middle. See if I can show you all those. They do have the little nubs we love to see, and this makes for a nice armrest. You do have plenty of legroom back here, actually. For, you know, an adult male who's 6 feet tall, I can sit back here just fine. I also have plenty of headroom. And you have lots of light back here thanks to this huge sunroof and the Safari windows. So they did a really nice job with the rear. So what would you have to pay to roll off the lot in one of these fine Land Rover two-door Defenders? The answer is somewhere just north of $66,000 for this exact model. Now, you might be saying, that sounds like a lot. How could you pay that for a two-door SUV? And if you're asking yourself that, well, you're not the target market for this vehicle. This target market is a very specific one, but this vehicle serves it very well. If you want a nice off-road vehicle that you can go have some fun in and trust, but you also need a strong daily driver to get you to work or to school, well, this is going to be the perfect option for you. It's a little more expensive than some of the competition, but it also has a lot more to offer than the other two-door competition. For example, some of the two-door competition doesn't make the best daily driver. If you've ever ridden in the back door, in the back seat of a two-door Wrangler, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This vehicle can sit 4 adults comfortably, but then you also have serious off-road features like that twin-speed transfer case. In addition, you have that air suspension, the Wrangler tires. They did a really nice job of getting the best of both worlds into one package. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, consider liking and subscribing for more weekly automotive content. We'll see you in next week's video.